What is up, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. And this here Chevrolet K1500 Silverado, gotta get it right. Boy, is she looking good today. Got the new plates on her, and it's maintenance day. So we did an oil change and we got new tires, and we're gonna deal with some other stuff on the truck here. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, I did take care of some of the mundane yesterday in taking off the intake and getting it cleaned up. And we're gonna reassemble and take care of the issues we were having. If you recall in a previous video, it was leaking everywhere. It was leaking at the mass airflow sensor. It was leaking down here at the throttle body. Just a whole bunch of leaks and old parts. So I ordered new couplers and the likes from K&N, and we're gonna get this filter cleaned up and probably replaced at some point. What I did do off camera was clean up this heat shield, and I replaced this bolt. I had to cut a new one, thinking that it would make it more stable, but this thing just kind of flops around. It was dirty as hell too. There was a bunch of crap in there, so I cleaned that up and I took the rest of it off. And we are working back here. So this coupler is the one that goes onto the mass airflow sensor, and I got a new one of those. So this one is the old one, and it didn't fit at all. It was super loose and it was leaking, so garbage. This is the new one, so we're gonna put that on. I got a new one of these because that was also leaking. This one is the original, and we gotta do something about this filter. So this filter has been kind of crushed because they don't fit together, and this is an excellent time to show y'all what I'm talking about. Like, the diameter of this coupler and the air filter are the exact same, and they're rubber, so they're sticky. So we're gonna try and finesse this in a way that's not totally janky to get this put back together. And the bottom of this air filter has like overt holes in it, as we can see there, where it's been rubbing. It just wasn't put together the right way, or missing some parts. So I'm gonna have to order a new filter. I should have done that already, but we washed it last night. I'm gonna oil this thing up. I'm going to try and put this together. I'm trying to put this piece on first and then shove it into the heat shield and kind of take care of the rest of it. First thing I need to do is kind of line up this mass airflow sensor in the general area that I want it. So it's gonna sit here, and the way I had it before, it was super tight on this clip. So I think if we just go straight up with the sensor here, so if we put it in this orientation, I think we should be just fine straight up and down. So I'm just gonna test fit these together. This is how you're supposed to do it, and then you're supposed to put this on the rest of the intake and put the filter on last. But since this part has such a hard time going on the filter, I'm gonna do it the opposite way. So I need to take note, there's a little notch down here that this rubber piece goes into. So if I have the filter straight up and down, I need this notch to be, I don't know, what is that, 7 o'clock angle, more or less. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna try and get this piece on, jam that through the heat shield, and then deal with the rest of it, because that was a pain in the butt, which means I need to oil this filter. No, we're gonna put that in first. So we've got our hose clamp on here already. This is some motor assembly grease. I'm gonna use a little bit of this and just kind of dab it around. I'm not even on the camera. Dab it around this. I'm gonna try and make this a little bit slippery while not having too much of it get inside. The grease may have been a mistake, to be honest, because I'll get it in and it just pops out. Dude, what a dumb freaking design. All right. So that's in. We might have to move this out, but at least it's in. When I took it off the first time, I could not get this thing back in to save my life. I think this was the hardest part by far. So lube that thing up, get it in there. I hope it doesn't fall out, but we'll make sure to wipe it down. But now I got to oil this thing. This is where it'd be nice to have gloves. This is the intake air temp sensor, so I'm gonna pull that out. just so I'm not spraying oil over it. I really don't like oiled filters, but they don't make a dry one for this intake system, which sucks. So light coat of oil going on. So we've got a pretty uniform red color all around. I might just touch up a tiny bit up in this area real quick. I'm gonna do it over here this time. That makes a little bit more sense. Forgot that I did this last night too, because this light just stays on forever. Brittle. Our light works. It always has worked, but it's nice. Anyway, let's go ahead and jam a filter in here and see what I can't cut. I'm probably gonna be blatantly in the way for most of this, but we're putting the filter in. I have to connect this intake air temp sensor. That's done. And now I need to jam this grommet through the intake box. So that was relatively painless. I got the other parts. I got the intake tube here. So now I need to make sure, if you're doing this yourself, there's an arrow right here for the airflow direction. So we're going that way towards the motor. There's this little indent right there that I need to line up. All right, that's what I suspected was going to happen. This hose clamp, oh, that's real freaking easy. This hose clamp was too tight, and the way I set it up, it's on the freaking bottom. So let me make a quick adjustment. So that leads me to believe that I put this grommet too far in. Kind of an absolute dud of a design by K&N, but I pulled this thing out almost 1.5 inches, and it's right about at the hose clamp on the inside. So I think we're okay with that. I'm gonna make sure to leave this hose clamp in a position. You just don't wanna work today, do you, fella? I'm gonna put this hose clamp in a position where I can access it or spin it. I will say the 6 shots of espresso are violently working against me right now, but now this should slide in. Once again, just keep your fingers off it. Like, I'm touching all this shit I'm not supposed to. Airflow is going that way, so it should just snug up. And I need to line up that little indent. Yeah, the issues before, this piece was popping off of the mass airflow sensor here, and this piece, there is no hose clamp on it. It just kind of pops onto the mass airflow sensor. So those seem to be good. It's what happens is when you attach to the throttle body, this thing was kind of poorly designed. It kind of shifts everything and puts a lot of pressure right here. So those are the only two. And remember, remember to take out the rag. That would have been bad. The rag inside the mass airflow. Mass airflow, that's the throttle body. Oh, the caffeine, brother. It'd probably help if I followed the instructions, but I'm just going off of how this was taken apart. So I added a hose clamp to this piece because, let's see, let's zoom in here. I added a hose clamp to that piece. The guy before had a zip tie on it, but that's where the biggest leak was. So if we can line this up, okay, this is where the issue was, like all this crap falling apart on either side of the mass airflow sensor, which is important for everything. It's kind of a really bad design by K&N, because when you put this piece on, it like leverages right against all this crap. And there could very well be instructions that tell you you're supposed to do that, but whatever. We're moving on. Moving on to this piece. I did put this one together already also, and then it also just kind of fell off and died. I don't know why really, but I gotta loosen this, Johnny. Okay, now we're cooking with avocado oil, friends and family. Mass airflow sensor No way. Dude, did I not deliberately do this in a spot where it was supposed to reach? See, this is absolute comedy. We're gonna see if I can pull this maneuver here. Oh, it's still tight, but she'll ride. Maybe if I didn't have violent OCD, this would have been done a long time ago, but we're going to check over everything. Yeah, boy. Mass airflow sensor, we just had to make a slight adjustment. These are tight. That's tight. Filter's tight. I think we're cooking, boy. I think we're freaking cooking, boy. So the most deliberate air filter cleaning ever, took it all apart. We'll take a look. So that is good. Our intake air temp sensor is down there. The filter is nice and red. It's got to be missing something because that thing still wobbles around. This is the areas that we had a lot of problems. So on either side of this mass airflow sensor, here and here, both of those were just popping off, so we're sucking dirty air. This is a new coupler, added a hose clamp, not sure if it's in the instructions, but absolutely necessary. Made sure that this Johnny is all tight and she's buttoned up. We got the PCV hooked up. We have mass airflow sensor. We're golden. Let's fire her up. Ooh. Adios. Alrighty, time to fire her up and take a listen. I don't think I'm gonna notice any difference at all, but I will rest easy knowing that the engine is pulling in nice, clean, oiled air. I don't like oil filters, but let me pop my microphone in this area and we'll take a look. Keys, keys, keys. Oh yeah, I sprayed them with oil. She sounds happy and healthy. I've been feeling around. I don't feel any leaks, although it would be pretty hard to feel a leak. I think that's a wrap, baby. She is golden, nice and cleaned up. We're looking good. We are looking good.